Hi, and welcome back. It's Wednesday, the 31st and last day of March. Your April forecast and Easter weekend forecast ahead, which will include some cold weather, a few flakes possibly, but some improving conditions and some sunshine by Easter Sunday. A bit of a rocky ride in your forecast. I'll outline that in the very latest detail in just a few moments. On the desk tonight and in headlines, a COVID update statewide on tomorrow's program in lieu of the fact that we won't be having a show on Good Friday this Friday. We'll be checking in with our local leaders to get our local COVID update. I know the judge executive has set, I believe, a final spring cleaning campaign date and some other information from the judge's office that we will need to have, as well possibly as some for our schools. All of that coming up on tomorrow's program, and a lot of other information to try to squeeze into the last show of the week. Back to tonight's show, indictments returned yesterday by the Magoffin County Grand Jury, including two counts of attempted murder, promoting a sexual performance by a minor under the age of 16, under the age of 12. Same victim, it does appear, according to court records. A number of other updates and information, your calendar and more, as well as an update per an official release from Post 9 of the State Police on that fatality on the Mountain Parkway earlier this week. Some more details in addition to what I had even on last night. This I saw coming. I think a lot of folks saw coming, as it was, I think, really, I don't want to use the phrase layman's terms, but for the general public, I think it was determined not to be as effective or as important as initially everyone thought it was, regardless, with all the data now taken into consideration from the CDC. The Kentucky Department of Education and the Kentucky Department of Public Health have both ruled officially and updated their guidelines to say that schools in Kentucky no longer need to screen students for temperatures and adults before entering buildings and riding the bus. They should, however, and obviously continue to monitor student temperatures as part of the standard physical assessment given to students displaying symptoms of infectious disease. Essentially, temperature screening expectations have been changed to say that they only need to check the temperature of students entering the school or getting on the bus if they are having some sort of symptoms of a fever. Routine temperature screenings before school and getting on the bus no longer required. I'm certain that a lot of school systems and a lot of students will be glad to hear that. It's also a good sign as to the trend that we're on. It's also coming after school districts like Magoffin County have spent thousands and thousands of dollars. Of course, I think monies they are getting back from the federal government to put in either those handheld guns or the more expensive scanners that you simply put your face into and are scanned and cleared to enter for school, ball games, or other events. Yesterday, I had some information that we actually obtained from someone who was able to reach the Morgan County coroner and some other officials. Today, we have an official press release, I do, in regards to that fatal collision that happened just a few miles into Morgan County earlier this week. Yesterday, I was able to confirm that it was a man from Madison County who was killed in this two-car collision on the Mountain Parkway this Monday, just right after the noon hour, when apparently after being slumped over the wheel of his vehicle, a Kia SUV, he ultimately hit essentially head-on an 18-wheeler that was traveling in the opposite direction, the large truck traveling east, the SUV traveling west towards Lexington. The driver telling authorities that he did anything and everything within his power to avoid the collision, going back and forth from lane to lane, but to no avail. Other motorists described the driver of the man, the 70-year-old, I believe it was, from Berea, who we confirmed as being 73-year-old, actually, Larry Miller, slumped over his wheel for a significant distance as many tried to blow their horn and get his attention, thinking possibly he was asleep. There's no confirmation this was a medical condition that resulted in the collision. That's still yet to be determined by an autopsy and other police investigations, which are being done by Post 9. Post 9, though, telling me today that indeed it was 72-year-old Larry Miller and not 73 who was driving that Kia SUV when he crossed the center line for still an unknown reason, but that it was as well 3-year-old Larry Watson, who owns, I believe, or works for Watson Trucking from Leander, Kentucky, who was driving the 96 Peterbilt tractor trailer that collided with the small SUV. So yesterday was the last day of the legislative session, and a lot of things passed, a lot of them coming down to the wire to pass. One thing that didn't, that I think you'll find of interest, another attempt to try to increase the gas tax by another 10 cents per gallon. That did not make its way through. Just a few of the bills, however, that did. Many on the actual, of course, last day of the legislative session. It was yesterday that lawmakers finally came to agreement and passed over $1 billion in new federal aid. Now, that is not even half of the more than $2.5 billion in federal aid that has come to Kentucky. How the rest of that will be spent won't be determined until possibly the next legislative session. They just approved basically what they had to at this time, and they have time to approve and spend the rest. $1.1 billion of funds the state has received from the federal government as part of about $2 trillion American Rescue Plan. $250 million to help clean drinking water projects and wastewater projects. $575 million to go back to pay back the loan that the state took out to cover unemployment insurance benefits. Another $50 million put towards broadband throughout the state. That's in addition to about $250 million prior to they're already approved by the state. $127 million for replacing and renovating public school facilities across the Commonwealth in reference to a voter referendum on abortion. That was House Bill 91, and it passed, and it sets the stage for Kentucky voters to go to the polls next year on a proposed amendment to the state's constitution that essentially would say, or by law, say that there is no right to abortion here in the Commonwealth. Into no-knock warrants, into that category, that was Senate Bill 4. It will limit how and when law enforcement agencies across the Commonwealth can use no-knock warrants, which of course don't require officers to announce themselves before entering the targeted area that they are going to. Senate Bill 5 does give liability protection to businesses and other employers. They have to, of course, follow all guidelines and all attempts to keep their employees safe, but it gives them some liability protection, something that has been talked about essentially since the pandemic began. Senate Bill 48 restricts public release of not all but certain information that will be considered personal information about Kentucky judges, police officers, and public prosecutors. With that said, I will return with indictments returned by the McGoffin County Grand Jury currently seated after this. TracFone has brand new deals, brand new plans, and a brand new line of phones, and Frazier's Prater Drugstore has them all, like iPhone 6S's prepaid for only $114.99. We dare you to find it anywhere any cheaper. Yes, $114.99. So stay connected, stay in touch with major savings on all new TracFone plans and devices at Sayersville's Frazier's Prater Drugstore. Get absolutely every mile you can out of the season with great deals right now at Conley Tire in Staffordsville. Get up to $70 back on a set of new Coopers or new Hancooks, up to $120 back on new Michelins, up to $150 on new Goodyears, where you can keep your stimulus money and drive safe with 6 months no interest. At Conley Tire in Staffordsville and at conleytire.net.
The coverage you need when you need it most. We are you. We are Appalachian Wireless.
Jesse Rudd and his staff at Parkway Pharmacy are proud to announce the newest member of their team, and yours, pharmacist Dustin Jones, who's actually the grandson of Janet and the late Paul Jones of Dixie in Salyersville. And his addition of over 12 years of experience in inpatient and outpatient services gives you unmatched availability and care when it comes to your health and medication.
Parkway Pharmacy, where you can always talk to a pharmacist when you need one.
Jason Zimmerman at Highlands ARH, the healthcare system of Appalachia.
A total of 3 indictments returned yesterday by the current McGoffin County grand jury, beginning with that of a man from Jackson who, as I told you some months ago, was charged and is now officially indicted on several serious sexual counts related to a minor under the age of 12 and as well under the age of 16. Information contained in the indictment appears to indicate that may possibly be referring to the same juvenile over the course of a significant period of time. What is also listed in the indictment are the charges of promoting a sexual performance by a minor under the age of 16, sexual abuse in the first degree of a victim under the age of 12, and possession of matter portraying a sexual performance by a minor. All charges against Forrest Douglas Corneal of Jackson, who was, according to the original arrest citations, the subject of a complaint where Officer Joe Weddington of State Police Post 9 says he was contacted by a concerned family member who had seen several sexual images of a juvenile family member on the defendant's telephone. And after obtaining the telephone through a search warrant and sending it to the KSP Electronic Crimes Branch, they found dozens of images portraying a sexual performance by a minor on that phone, along with other details saying that Corneal was obviously visible in those photographs, as were his victim. He was last jailed in the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center in 2017 on charges of DUI and drug possession. And a last report, from what I could find out this afternoon, was still being sought after to execute this arrest warrant. Robert Miller, 61, of Gunlock in McGoffin County, was indicted, named in 2 separate indictments. One, possession of a handgun by a convicted felon after being found in possession of a firearm on the 26th day of July. It was that day that he was arrested after being sought for incidents that took place the day prior, for which he was indicted for 2 counts of attempted murder in the first degree. And now, with additional information, we know that those charges or indictment charges stem from an initial arrest of wanton endangerment in the first and assault in the first degree, which appears to be upgraded charges of attempted murder, 2 separate counts because of the seriousness of the crime. Tiffany Bond with State Police of Post 9 says that she was notified on last July the 25th here in McGoffin County of a shooting that happened here in McGoffin County, where she spoke with a female victim who was in a vehicle that was shot by Miller. That victim told State Police that Robert Miller passed that female victim who was in the car with another man as they were traveling along Route 7 here in McGoffin County. And once he went around them, he pulled over and blocked the road with his vehicle and then started firing at that car with his handgun. The male driver was struck once under the right armpit. That bullet lodged in his chest. And State Police, after their investigation, found multiple bullet holes in the windshield and driver's door of that same vehicle. As for Miller, he then left that scene, turned around, and law enforcement were unable to find him for several hours, but he was ultimately arrested that next day and additionally charged with possession of a handgun by a convicted felon, now indicted on 2 counts of attempted murder. As for Miller, he was last jailed on those charges the day of July the 26th of last year, but was released from the Big Sandy Jail on October the 10th. Jail records did not indicate that he's been arrested since or on this active indictment warrant. Adam Minix, who I believe is formerly of East Maple Street, who no longer lives at least at the same residence where these alleged crimes took place, is now being sought as well. He was arrested in October of last year for several charges, which are all now, or at least part of, the subsequent indictment returned yesterday in his name: possession of a controlled substance for methamphetamine, unlawful imprisonment in the second degree, violation of a Kentucky EPO, fleeing and evading police in the second degree, assault in the fourth, domestic violence. This all for, as we aired originally, events that took place on or around October the 6th at his residence on East Maple Street very early one morning after Officer Tracy Salyer with the Kentucky State Police, formerly the Sayersville Police Department, was called to Minix's residence after a family member of a female relative called authorities saying they were worried because they had not heard from her for days and that she might possibly be at Minix's residence. Once authorities arrived, Minix was standing in the yard but took off on foot, and a brief foot chase was then made, and he was apprehended. And when asked if there was a female matching that name and description who he had a relationship and shared a child with was inside, he said no. But when another trooper knocked on the door, that female answered, saying that she'd been held there against her will and as well assaulted. And then every time she attempted to run, he grabbed her by the hair and jerked her back and caused other injuries. A consent to search was given, and they found a quantity of methamphetamine and marijuana inside his residence, and now is facing the indictment charges. Still more headlines to come, including some good news and some big happenings in regards to our state COVID update today. Another easing of the vaccine guidelines, who can get it, essentially. This is going to be one of the broadest and last that can possibly even happen, and it goes into effect very, very soon. We'll talk about that in just a few moments. Right now, though, let's go to this evening's McGoffin Farm Bureau community calendar, where I would have had this birthday announcement yesterday had I had anything close to a normal day, but I didn't. If you were here, you understand why or know why. So let's go on to now. Belated birthday wish to a young lady who I think will forgive me. Happy belated birthday, Holly Kate. Holly Kate Mead. You know who this is from. Mom and Dad and Will, Granny, Paul, Uncle Neil, and all the family. Happy, 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 happy birthday to you, Holly Kate Mead. Happy birthday. On to other announcements. A reminder that the Head of Coon Church is having a revival the first Sunday of April, which is this Sunday, which is, of course, Easter Sunday as well. Pastors Philip Howard, Earl Howard, and Herschel Wright invite you all. A quick reminder that the Lakefront Church of God Outreach Ministries will be open tomorrow. They've been closed this week in lieu of services held for Stephen Reisner. Also, they wanted everyone to know that the next pantry date is next Wednesday, the 7th, from 9 that morning till 11:30, also for being out due to the services this week for Mr. Reisner. South McGoffin Elementary is having kindergarten registration for the upcoming school year next week, Monday through Friday, 8 until 3. If your child is going to be 5 on or before August the 1st, they're eligible to register for kindergarten. If they're currently in Head Start and will be entering kindergarten, you still need to stop by the school office and register them. And for registration, parents will need to bring the child's birth certificate, social security card, immunization certificate as well. Before students begin kindergarten, they're required to have a physical, an eye exam, and a dental exam. Any forms you need, you can pick them up during registration. If you have any questions, call 884-7325. I'll remind you as it gets a little bit closer, but our next one is for Monday, the 12th day of April, where Circuit Clerk Tanya Arnott Ward is asking everyone to join them at the clerk's office at the Justice Center at 10 o'clock that morning in celebration of National Donate Life Month by participating in a statewide Donate Life flag-raising ceremony and moment of silence to honor donors and their families and to promote the mission of organ, tissue, and eye donation. And when you got an announcement like these for your church group, nonprofit organization, what have you, or birthday or anniversary, you know how this works. This is how you get them on the show. Tell me, I'll tell everyone about it. And if you would like birthdays, birth announcements, and anniversaries published in the Sayersville Independent, well, they're free there too, but just don't send them to me. You just have no idea how bad of an idea that might be. Email those to Joe, J-O, at SayersvilleIndependent.com. Funeral service announcements tonight consist of the following announcement that we've just got in from the McGoffin County Funeral Home. 79-year-old Sarah Mae Davis Rao passed away on Monday. Daughter of the late Robert and Telly Rao Davis. She's survived by sons Alonzo, Larry Shawn, and Hager. Daughters Kathy Rao, Ora Lee Fletcher. 4 brothers, Ernie Davis, Elmer, Lawrence Jean, and Harry Davis. 6 sisters, Bertha Patton, Margie Salyer, Geraldine Salyer, Flora Puckett, Stella Salyer, and Wanda Minix, and 7 grandkids and 5 great-grandkids. She was preceded in death by her husband, Harry. Funeral services are going to be held this Friday at 1 from the Carver United Baptist Church. Friends can call on the church tomorrow after 5 for visitation. Always the time for new beginnings and redecorating. or at least adding a few new favorite pieces to your home decor. And the seasonal shop has just finished resetting their entire home decor section with all new merchandise. It's all there. Classic favorites, new trends, and the unusual pieces that can set your decor apart from everyone else. Farmhouse, timeless blue and white pottery, natural woods, beaded accents, bohemian, bees, lemons, copper, white pottery, and equestrian. It's all there. And it's all there with local delivery, layaway, and curbside pickup. It's the only place like it, the Seasonal Shop in downtown Sagersville. There's no missing that this is the new McFarland and Tinker Law Office location on the Mountain Parkway in the former Farm Bureau building in Sagersville, just like there's no denying that their nearly 60 years of legal experience has won their clients millions and millions of dollars in disability, auto accident, and wrongful death cases. It's where your case matters to you and to us. McFarland and Tinker. Also, Griffey approved. Now, as we turn to the governor's address from earlier this afternoon, several items that will focus on some really big news, perhaps the biggest of his release today, says the governor, concerning who can get the vaccine starting this Monday across the Commonwealth. Starting this Monday, anyone over the age of 16 will be able to get the Pfizer vaccine at any of the locations or any medical facility that gives it. Anyone over the age of 18, starting Monday, will be able to get the Moderna or the Johnson & Johnson.
That will be a complete opening of all of our vaccination sites to everyone who qualifies under the FDA and the CDC's decisions. This is a good day. It means that we will beat the president's request by a month to have it opened up to everyone. There are a couple of reasons why we're doing this. First, we are seeing in a number of states, including Michigan, Wisconsin, New York, New Jersey, and others, an increase in cases, an increase in hospitalizations, and it's happening amongst younger people. What we're seeing is that the vaccines work, and older Americans have gotten it. We're seeing more younger Americans ending up in the hospital. This, we believe, is because of the more aggressive variants. We want to get ahead of them. We're also seeing some appointments open. We want to make sure that we fill those.
In some other good news, the governor announced, as I read earlier this morning, some big news centered around the Pfizer vaccine. Now that they've been able to continue to test it, that in children, it reduced the risk of coronavirus infection in kids, thousands of kids that were tested, 12 to 15, by 100%, meaning that none of the children vaccinated were infected during this late-stage trial. And keep in mind, that's 100% compared to the 95% for the 16 to 25-year-olds of another study who had received their final dose. That is some big, big news. The trial included about 2,250 kids between the age of 12 and 15 who had histories of post-coronavirus infections and who did not. Also, they announced another major site, Cardinal Stadium in Louisville. They're going to, they say, be able to vaccinate up to 200,000 people in 7 weeks of that latest site's operation. And in long-term care centers, also some big news. For the second time in about 10 days, 0 new residents confirmed to have the coronavirus. Staff, as only about 50% of the staff working in the state's nursing homes have been vaccinated, still showing some positive cases, but still not as many as were. As for today's COVID numbers, they are slightly over last week to date.
Today's COVID report suggests it's going to be real close this week, and whether or not we have our 12th week of declining cases or we start to see a plateau. So today we're reporting 815 new cases. That is more than last week, but it's less than the week before that and the week before that. We got 35 additional people hospitalized. We don't like to see that number go up. 19 additional people in the ICU, 11 additional Kentuckians on a ventilator, all of that due to COVID. So we're going to watch that. We have seen fluctuations, and this isn't a large one, but we're going to watch it. Our positivity rate is up slightly to 2.96%, but that is still certainly under 3.
Lastly, Bashir announcing 22 new deaths today associated with the coronavirus. Remember, tomorrow we'll have our local update and recap this week of cases and vaccinations here in McGoffin County. From birthdays to ball games and anything in between, feed your crowd with a Sagersville Lee's Famous Recipe party platter piled high with both hot and spicy and crispy buffalo wings, fried pickles, jumbo breast strips, mini corn dogs, and jalapeno poppers, all for just $36.99. And here's a little tip. Always get extra mini corn dogs when you get the party platter at your Sagersville Lee's Famous Recipe. And remember, you can always call ahead 349-3626. All-Pro, and you'll always get a perfectly finished project backed by decades of experience and thousands of satisfied customers. Always with the best prices on everything from small to large remodels, bathrooms to kitchens to entire homes, or turnkey new construction on everything from garages, homes to retail space. And seamless gutters too. And All-Pro still offers 0% financing for up to 18 months and long-term low interest rates on those big projects. For an estimate, call this family-owned business today. The boys' Sweet 16 tipped off at Rupp Arena earlier today. The only scores I have from the first couple of games: Knott County Central fell to Elizabethtown 87-59. Game 2 was Bowling Green and University Heights. Heights fell by almost 30 points. The 5 o'clock game, I don't have the update as of yet. Madison Central and Ballard, George, Rogers, Clark, and Oldham County wrap it up today at Rupp at 8 o'clock. And I'm just kind of filling in the blanks to tell you that it's 5 o'clock tomorrow that the Paintsville Tigers, of course, the 57th District and 15th Region champs, will take on Boyle County. That's 5 o'clock tomorrow evening at Rupp Arena. The boys' championship this Sunday, the 3rd. And ladies' action will tip off on next Wednesday night at Rupp Arena as well. So it's the boys for the rest of the week and the weekend. For the rest of the week, man, that was a good one. For the rest of the week and the weekend, let's turn to your Licking Valley RECC outlook. The Easter weekend is upon us. This one, I'm hopeful that everyone will get to enjoy much more than last in so many ways. Weather-wise, it's going to be much more compatible on Sunday than it would have been today or would be tomorrow, or even Friday and Saturday, which are both going to be nice and clear and sunny, but not at all that warm. Sure, it's not all that unusual to see some nice pre-spring temperatures, of course. Some nice early spring temperatures, and then a little bit of a whiplash back to some, late winter temperatures. And that's kind of where we're at this week. A little bit of a hit of some cold air that will result in some frosty mornings, maybe a few flakes even briefly. A low tonight of 31 degrees for the rest of your Wednesday. There are showers possibly up until 11, but tonight we'll see skies. Now, for the most part, the showers are over. With that said, though, we'll see skies become partly cloudy during the overnight. Again, we'll fall to about 31. Wind light out of the northwest, maybe 7 miles per hour or so. And that takes us into your Thursday, where after the precipitation that we have seen today, there's a little chance, to the tune of about 20%, of some rain or snow showers after 11 in the morning. Just a quick little glancing blow, just a little more precipitation left in the tank, just as we see the cold air set in. Other than that, partly sunny tomorrow, 40 degrees for your daytime high. There's a big adjustment as well. Northwesterly winds anywhere from 7 to 10 to 25 miles per hour or so for your Thursday. So it's going to be just cold and blustery tomorrow, but at least clear for the most part in the afternoon. Widespread frost, as you can well imagine, tomorrow night as we get back down into the upper teens for the rest of your Thursday. Winds will still moving out of the northwest, maybe 5 to 10. Friday morning, widespread frost, as you can imagine. After we go from 19 to about 46, we'll see mostly sunny skies. Winds as well, again up to 15 miles per hour out of the northwest on your Friday. Can't shake the winds, can't shake the 40s. Friday night, widespread frost up till about after 11. Clear skies, 19 again on your Good Friday night. A couple of cold days ahead of us. The two coldest of your forecast, because as you will notice, going from Good Friday on into your Easter weekend, we perk up and we pick up about 13 degrees. Saturday, 59 degrees. Glad to say now, widespread frost obviously in the morning, but otherwise sunny. Upper 50s, close to 60, 31 degrees Saturday night, mostly clear skies, and that takes us into Easter Sunday, where you have the outlook that has backed off just a bit temperature-wise for your Easter Sunday. We were closer to 70 than we are now. Right now, we're at an estimated 66 degrees after some frost in the morning, 41 that night, but clear skies, calm conditions, a little bit on the cooler side, but not in the 40s like what we're going to see for the next couple of days. From there, a consistent low 70 or 70s for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, as well as low 40s for nighttime lows. Mostly sunny, mostly clear. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that's a pretty good-looking forecast there after Sunday, Easter Sunday, and Easter Sunday's not so bad. Again, that's going to wrap it up for this Wednesday. I'm wrapping up this week tomorrow. I'm checking in with a lot of local officials. We've got a lot of need-to-know information that I need to get out there, I do believe, before the Easter weekend, Good Friday, and the Easter weekend. So please join me then. For now, please enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night, and thanks for watching.